ensure we address the issues that are impeding optimal performance of the sector. And we must also appreciate that in trying to repair the sector, it will come with pains. If there is no pain, there is no gain. If you believe or you have trust and confidence in the handlers of the sector, and you allow all these policies to move seamlessly, we're going to get to permanent solution. On the issue of corruption, I agree with you. It pervades all government establishments, and this is what this administration is committed to eliminate. And I can tell you that since I resumed duty as Minister of Power, I've raised a number of issues to frustrate corruption in the sector and to even expose existing corruption. I will mention two, which you are all aware of. The meter gap we have today is 6 to 8 million meters. But 20 years ago, specifically 2003, the meter gap was not up to 4 million. And the $200 million was set aside by the Debt Management Office through the Ministry of Power and was given to a particular meter vendor to procure 3 million meters for the sector. If 3 million meters had been procured in 2003, we will not be talking about this magnitude of gap in our meter penetration. But this $200 million was converted at the rate of 160 naira to make 32 billion naira, and it was fixed in a bank for 21 years. No single meter was acquired. So we are our own enemies, we are our own problems. Government provided the money, and someone sat on the money for 21 years until we came. And I know that previous administration have tried to recover this money, but they did not succeed. But thankfully to Mr. President, he immediately approved the termination of this loan and the retrieval of this 32 billion naira.
Nuisance lele.
Olore Bruku ni Adelaby. Just so you remember, Sha, is Olori Bueda. That's how they sit and say things. Now, some people collected 32 billion. So he could tell you about the 32 billion. He could tell you about the termination of the contracts, but he won't tell you the name. Because at the end of the day, not them. He has said a lot of things too that I won't share with you. I'm becoming kind of like angry already. Angry. I'm still going to show you anyway. But here, a few other things before we continue listening to that Dumbo, right? The senators are acting. Pretend that you are working, but listen to them.
Have invested in the discos since they were acquired, because there's been talk of asset stripping, so it would depend on how much the discos have they been at just the point the way they were when they were acquired. Was an investment made, minimal, a lot? That would be something I would like to know. Then you're talking touching the masses. Most of their responsibilities in the act, they are not doing them. Even ordinary transformer. The people are buying the transformers. They will even collect the money to even come and collect the transformers. And they take the money. The only thing you need to be liquid is the meter. Nobody is owing the DSTV now. Nobody is owing MTN. Nobody, because it's prepaid meter. If you don't have your card, you will not get electricity. So this one owing you will not come if you have the meters. I think they should be more interested in that. And when they were bidding for this thing, they told Nigeria that they have the money, that they have the resources. They have not done anything. They have gone to the bank to borrow money. We are not seeing any meter. People are still paying for the one that they are buying. Nobody is getting meter free in Nigeria. They still pay for them. When you pay today, the next 5 months, you will not get anything. So I think we need to face this discourse. Let them go internal and spend money on where the money will come to the people instead of suffocating the masses. You have to look at the time. You have to carry a bit for Nigeria to get out of this fuel subsidy
before we add that of electricity. Whatever you can do to postpone it a bit will be to the advantage of Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whenever there's rain, end of story. No light for 2 days. I personally give them a bike to trace all the faults. Just what's going on. Mr. Minister, do a spot assessment in those areas. Not data. Sit by yourself and able to compare. You know what's happening in the middle? Very well. Exactly. I can make a phone call to our friend or one of our friends. He will tell us straight away. No, they don't have it. They don't have it. You are trying your best, but the agents are not helping us. That's number one. Then the issue of this code telling us, okay, we have, from the supplementary performance bond or feeders, it's 0. This code, please. It's not here. Yeah, it's there. Can you look at the page? Summary performance of bond in feeders. You make it, BDC, Kaduna. You quoted different, hours of average performance, which is not the true reflection. It seems the discos and the NEC are collaborating together to make it look good for Nigerians. That is the simple truth about it. And of course, it's on the table of the minister. We accuse minister all the time. You are here, you give us this analysis, but it's not correct. It's not correct. I know of IPDC very well. She knows about that very well. It's not correct. Yes, it's not. It's not correct. So I know the day for me.
Here's AEDC, which is Abuja, 95%. BEDC, which is Benin, 83%. EEDC, which is Enugu, 70%.
And Amadi on AIT, I followed him all the time. Please consult him. Please consult him. It's very key. You are like mind. That's my view. And we represent Nigerians. And at the end of the day, myself and you, if we're not careful, we'll be stoned at home. Because they thought we are making so much money. Big Ike cannot sustain. We don't want it. As a Nigerian, we don't want it. Not now. As my colleague has said, it's not going to be possible. Wealth is there now. It's coming in. Government should look outside the box and see how we could, manage this crisis now. So for you as a minister, it's a challenge. Please, that's what we're asking for. And Nigerians, we have Nigerians, they are watching us now, and they know who are for them, who are not for them. And I have a good name to protect as well. So it's very key to us. Thank you so much.
How do you get charged when there is no meter to tell your electricity usage? How do you get charged? For years now, I've been hearing people complaining and lamenting and all that. Then the politicians coming out to say, we are promising you this and promising you that. We will give you meters, we'll give you transformers, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's still calm. We do ask ourselves how, but we may never understand. Listen to that fraud. Adebayo, Adelaby, your minister of darkness, explaining.
500 megawatt capacity with 4 turbines of 125 megawatts each. Only one at 125 megawatts was working. The remaining 375 were down for various reasons. Number one, no gas. Number two, they could not service the turbines. You understand? So it's not as if we cannot generate power. But what happened to our power resources? So these are the kind of money spent with other administrations. We have spent so much money on transmission. The transmission company of Nigeria today, the government has spent billions of dollars on it. I can tell you, all the projects started. 90% of those projects are not completed. They are still ongoing. I mentioned it in my previous speeches and interviews that we have over 120 TCM projects that are ongoing at 95%, 90%, 80% completion. And one peculiar thing about power projects is that you cannot energize if it's not 100% completed. So we have only spent those money. We have not really derived any advantage from the money, and the money has not made any impact on the sector. So why have we not completed those projects? So those are the issues of corruption that we are saying we need to eliminate. And corruption will always fight back. Since we have mentioned all this, they have been after me. They've been on my neck. Oh, remove Adelaby, replace Adelaby and all that. But we know it comes with reforms. When you are doing radical transformation and necessary reform, it will never be easy. We are prepared for all those negative name calling and dragging on the internet. It will not stop anything. Once we get to where we are going, we are satisfied. So we are aware of the corruption issue, and I can tell you that we have the trust and confidence with Mr. President, and is ready to stay with us to fight this corruption issue. We have cartels, we have cabals. The band A that the disco man just mentioned that they enjoy about 85-90% of promise. Go and check. The demand for diesel by those band A has reduced. Those are the people that could afford diesel to their generators. Demand for generator services and even new generators have reduced. Are there no people in these businesses? So they are after us, but we are bent on reforming the sectors. Thank you for this comment on the corruption. You mentioned that I mentioned about 2 trillion required to turn around the sector. No, to turn around this sector, 2 trillion naira is just a part result. The 2 trillion I mentioned was even 3 trillion. And it was 2 trillion for the subsidy. After the band A, the subsidy required was about 2.9 trillion. Band A will bring in about 1 trillion. And we are left with about 1.9, which is 2 trillion. If government gives us 2 trillion today to be able to pay the subsidy, sincerely we won't touch subsidy again. We won't touch the tariff again. So the 2 trillion I mentioned is just to cover the subsidy shortfall. As it is today, 450 billion was made available in the budget for subsidy. So even if we were to reduce or eliminate that gap, we will have reviewed tariff for all banks, but we did not do that. So for this sector to be revived, government needs to spend nothing less than $10 billion on a yearly basis for the next 10 years because of the infrastructure requirement for stability in this sector. So the government cannot afford to do that. We must make this sector attractive to investors and to lenders. Everywhere in the world, government is not the only one spending on the sector. The sector is privatized. Government only subsidizes. So for us to attract such investment, the business must be attractive. The only way the business can be attractive is that there must be close to commercial pricing. The pricing shortfall must also be regularly funded by the government. That's why businessmen will put their money in. Why haven't we been able to sell all those discos that are in the hands of AMCON and other banks? No investor. But no investor will come and bring money if tariff is still at 66 naira and government is not paying subsidy. They will not come. But now that we have increased tariff for a band or a section of the consumers, there are interests being shown. And we will not wait for these discos to extend their investment to other banks, but it will take time, and they don't even have the money. We're going to embark on bundling the discos along state lines so that we can sell along state line. Apart from selling along state line, we are introducing what is called franchising. If there are some areas that the discos don't want to invest, we can get an interested investor, put money there.
Nuisance Lele.
Peculiar mess, Adebayo. You saw that talk? They're like beer parlor talk. Oh. This was supposed to be talks that is backed with statistics, number. But in Nigeria, no. Nigerian politicians with real numbers. They just pluck numbers from the air. We need 10 billion every year for Nigeria to enjoy electricity. We need 10 billion investment every year for the next 10 years. So they need $100 billion. Then he started talking all those jargons there. He's saying none of them is backed by any numerical or statistical evidence. Nothing, just manufactured numbers. And that is the country that they told you will be great. But I like this guy. That one, know they hide and they finish. It's just like, we don't say you are privileged. You don't understand how these things they feel. You, Mr. Minister. Listen.
Thank you. We're talking about the current tariff increase that has been done very recently. Is this tariff increase a solution to the challenges faced by NESI? Is it a solution to this problem, or is it just a reduction in the government subsidy exposure? What is it? What does it fundamentally address? Does it just address the exposure of the government to the subsidy, which would have been over 3 trillion, by charging only 15% of the customers to reduce the subsidy level? Or does it go ahead to address the fundamental problem of the lack of solvency within the entire sector? Because like what one of the presenters has said, it's mainly to rob Peter to pay Paul, and this time it's to pay the government to reduce its subsidy exposure. But it's even worse, because what you are doing is absolutely injustice and discriminatory. I think the challenge before us, like Senator Adelaby has said, is really to come think out of the box and find a fundamental solution to the entire.
The argument shouldn't be there at all, because they take money in advance, like MTN and NITA. So liquidity should not be their problem. It should not be advanced in an argument. But what I would rather is, you can laugh, but I'm telling you, this is very serious. You devalue the currency, you increase the cost of petrol. Now you are scrambling around trying to give palliative. What palliative are you going to give us now if you push through this tariff? It's the same thing. We are the same people. We are the same people, but you are still pushing us. Just to look, your solution is handing this electricity sector to Siemens. Beg them to take over. They have the capacity to do it. Beg them to take over. All the people you are trying to bring in, they are Nigerians like us. They don't have the capacity. They will still come back to you through the back door to look for another fund, one fund to one another, from the central bank or other institutions. Why are they are not credible. They are not creditworthy. That's why the money deposit banks are not giving them loan. But now you are trying to transfer that to us, customers. Minister, you are not going to be minister forever. You will become like us, maybe in the next 4 years. And you are going to face this problem. I'm just telling you. No, you are not like me now. You are privileged. No, you are privileged. You are in the executive sector of the government. So, but I'm still telling you, Minister, those policies are not working. You have to go back to the drawing board. Yes. Rethink about them. Come back with a better solution is beg these companies, beg Siemens or ABB to take over this. They have the resources to run this thing, operate and hand over to you. But for now, it is not working. It's not working. Because, look, I was in Nigeria when UPE was introduced. And the basis of it, at the end of it, is that Nigeria should embark on industrialization to absorb excess products of universities and polytechnics. Now, we established paper mill, we established NNPC, we established paper companies, we established sugar companies. All those are now steel companies. All those are now sold. All those jobs are gone. And now, the remaining industries in existence, with this policy, some 50 of them, percent of them will go under. And you are creating more unemployment in the country. This is a reality. This is a reality because our products are no longer competitive. Our competitors from abroad will bring in and sell. Nigerian jobs will be lost. We will create jobs abroad. So, it's an argument.
Which is true. They will spend borrowed money to build an institution to serve the people, and then they will sell it as scraps to their friends in the name of, what do you call that thing again? Privatization, something like that. Then they will buy those companies as scraps with the promise that they were going to revive them and they are going to serve Nigerians, only for them to turn around and begin to demand money to make the supposed institutions work. But let me put it to you. In Nigeria, the Nigerian government was not supposed to be involved anymore in generation and distribution of electricity, including manufacturing of meters and all that. And it's actually their law. Their law says Nigerian government is no longer in charge of distribution. They sold that to the transition companies. They call them TCN, Transition Company of Nigeria. Then they sold the generating companies, which are supposed to be governments, generating plants, power generating plants, built with borrowed money, part of the debt that you are still paying back. They sold them to their friends and gave them different names. Eco Electricity, Ibadan Electricity, Sokoto Electricity, Kaduna Electricity Company, and all of that stuff. They sold them to their pals. But the Ministry of Power in Nigeria continued to still directly fund them. On one hand, they will cry back and say, our problem, the reason why we have not been able to generate electricity in Nigeria is that we sold your electricity companies plants, but these companies that bought them, they didn't have enough money to turn them around. They are now looking towards the government, since they were bought by politicians. They are now looking for government to give them money or stand as a guarantor for them so that they can go and borrow money in banks. The criteria, the financial health, that is the criteria for selling the government properties to this, they say government no get business in business, right? Than just to make the environment business friendly. But all they do is that they sell them to their pals as scraps. Okay? They may build this power plant with, for example, $1.5 billion. It's been mismanaged already, overpriced. Then they will sell it to their pal, who is not electricity, is not a power generating company, but it's just because it's a Nigerian politician and there's government property to be sold. So he wants to buy it. He has no money, but they have put his name forward as the person who wants to buy it. And guess how much they want to sell a property or a plant they built with $1.5 billion. They may be selling it to him for $1.5 million. You hear me right? 1.5 million. And that's even being generous. Not 1.5 billion, no, 1.5 million. They may even sell it for $2 million. Imagine buying a whole power plant with $2 million. Something that is worth, how much? 1.something billion. You're not automatically a billionaire that way. Now, to now have money to maintain it and let it serve the people, give them 24 hours electricity, they don't get money. So they still need Nigeria to come and do shorty for them, since they are the ones in that government. They are the ones who are the friends of government. And Nigerians, they are the losers, unfortunately. Listen to what Peculiar Mess had to say about that, just before we move on.
MDN benefits, sorry. What's the principal amount?
993.
993 is the principal amount, which is about 1 trillion, while the 300 billion is the interest, which was agreed upfront. That's for the GENCOs. But for the gas supply companies, we are owing about $1.3 billion. So now, how do we pay? 3 forms of payment. Number 1, we have appealed to the Minister of Finance and the Coordinating Minister for the Economy, as well as the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, through Mr. President, that there must be some cash injection. We need to pay some cash so that these generating companies will continue in business. Number 2, we know we cannot pay everything 100% in cash. It's not possible. So we pay what is provided in the budget. I think there is need for supplementary budget to be included in supplementary budget. Then number 2 is we are going to give them some guaranteed debt instruments, which is a promise of deferred payments. It could be promissory notes. Promissory notes that over the next 2, 3, 4 years, we are going to be paying you down. That will give them some assurance and comfort. The number 3, for the gas companies, I think the Minister of Petroleum, Minister of State Petroleum Gas, is also discussing with them, and they have agreed on them having access to gas wells, so that they can use this to defray the debt over time, or even part of the royalty to pay down on the gas. Because these people are businessmen. If you are not paid for past supply, how do we expect you to continue supply? Which is why the chairman mentioned that it is by miracle that these jet companies are still producing power with the level and magnitude of debt that is on our neck as a government. So the last one is the fact that what is the way out? What is the way out? Sir, I've told you about the way out. Number 1 is to resolve this liquidity crisis, to ensure that the industry is liquid and to make it attractive to new investors. Number 1, to also make it attractive to bank lenders that can provide money to improve infrastructure. Yeah. Then, number 3 is infrastructure improvement across the 3 segments. The 4th segment of the value chain, 5 segments, which is the gas, yes, infrastructure, that's part of it. The gas pipeline need to be fixed, and new compressors, new, new compressors must be, but to ensure that the pressure is of good quality to the generating companies. The number 2 is the generating companies themselves. We need to revive all our generating companies. The NDPHC power companies must be revived to the level they were meant to be. We must also encourage the private generating companies to invest in improving their own infrastructure. Then we are also investing in hydroelectric power. We just added Zungeru of 700 megawatts that will also boost power production. We are also working on Kachibila, which is completed at 40 megawatts to complete evacuation of the remaining 30 out of 40. We are already evacuating 10. And we have 26 small hydro power dams. Hydro dams that want to put down as power production plants. And these are small plants, so small dams from 1 megawatt up to 15 megawatts. Then lastly, sir, the renewable energy, which is what I've also mentioned, was we are also diversifying our energy mix to ensure that we're able to provide energy to rural dwellers and to some communities in the north and in the southwest, along with those in the coastal area with wind energy. We're already discussing on signing an agreement with the 3 megagig.
Nuisance lele yìí.